a hurricane on its way to Florida. Do you know how you might keep your family fed without electricity? Hey Provident Preppers, I'm Kylene, and my heart goes out to all of you who are waiting for the arrival of the hurricane. It's a great time to do last minute preps. Hopefully you've already got all this taken care of. But my daughter-in-law Amanda sent me this last night. It's a Facebook post and it says, there is a hurricane coming to Florida and I need help thinking of foods to prepare without electricity. Okay, no electricity means no electric stove, no oven, no Instant Pot, all those kinds of things, unless you have some backup power. But for this purpose, we're gonna say that you don't have any actual backup power. So foods that you can prepare, well, there's all the old go-to stuff that's packaged, right? Your granola bars and your protein bars, things like that. Of course, we'd always have the wonderful comfort foods like graham crackers and Nutella. But a lot of times we forget about the canned foods, which are actually great. These happen to have a pop top, so you wouldn't need an electric can opener. Have you thought about that? Do you have a manual can opener in case you don't have power so that you can eat your food? These have a pop top, and these can be eaten directly out of the can. They would be safe to do that. They're not warm, which is kind of a bummer, but that's okay. And then we've got our old like standby, our fruits and our sandwiches, and you've got, you know, peanut butter sandwich. Now, some of your canned meats, you could actually put a little bit of barbecue sauce in with this beef and use it as like a, you know how you have chicken salad? You could use that to spread inside of sandwiches. So kind of think about that, but you've got all your canned resources. One of the things I wanted to mention here is that if you lose power, you want to make sure you keep your refrigerator and your freezer shut, right? The longer you keep them closed, the longer you can go and have that food remain good. Now, we have a video that talks all about how to keep the food cold in your freezer for a long period of time. And if you click the card in the corner, it'll take you to that. But one of the things that I would do if I lost electricity, I would put the foods that my family eats all the time. Like if I have little kids and they're always opening the door to get one thing or another out of there, I would put it in an ice chest so that you could open and close that ice chest without losing some of that valuable cool that you have in your refrigerator, because we want to make sure that it lasts, because hopefully this won't last for very long. Now, hopefully you've got lots of water stored, because that is really important. Even though you've got this hurricane coming and there's water everywhere, that water, well, first of all, we're not going to want out and get that water. We don't want to go outside in a hurricane, right? But you want to consider it polluted, because you've got all that groundwater and flood water. You're going to want to make sure you filter it before drinking it. So having water stored inside is super important. Let's talk about cooking, because you can safely cook indoors. Now, if you want to click the card in the corner, I'll take you to a video that we did all about just cooking indoors, but let's review it really quickly. Personally, I'm not going to want to cook outside when a hurricane's coming. I'm going to only want to cook indoors. And so you've got two main danger factors that you need to look out for. The first one is carbon monoxide. This is a little digital readout carbon monoxide detector that we keep everywhere. I have been burning something for a little while and it's at 0, and that is where we want it to be. The reason why we have these is so that it will start to register. So if you start building up carbon monoxide at all, it's going to start to register. The ones that you have in your ceiling usually have to reach a certain threshold before they alarm. So it's really important, and this just is battery operated, and I really like that. The second thing that we need to worry about is fire danger. And that's why I have a fire extinguisher inside my wall, right there in my kitchen and several other places in my home, just because I can be a little bit dangerous. But so we want to make sure we're concerned about both of those, and we do something about that, right? Want to be as safe as we possibly can. I have hot water starting to boil in here. I'm using something called Safe Heat. It is made by Sterno. I usually get mine at Sam's Club. There's a whole video on cooking with Safe Heat. In fact, I have a video where I compared all of these different alcohol fuels. And so we're gonna just talk a little bit about them, but you might wanna know just a little bit more, so you should go there. But this is Safe Heat. It is different than just plain Sterno. This is rated for indoor use, and this can is a 6-hour can. I usually get it at Sam's Club just because that's the cheapest place that I've been able to find it. But you can just put it in one of these little folding stoves. It's gonna take a little while for it to bring this to a boil. It's getting nice and toasty warm now. But great to cook with indoors because it's not gonna produce copious amounts of carbon monoxide. Now, any flame, if it doesn't have enough oxygen to burn, can produce carbon monoxide, but if you're doing it correctly, you shouldn't have any problem at all. Now, this is a little alcohol stove. And what you do here is you pour the alcohol in here. You can use any alcohol, and it's actually the fumes that burn. So I just want to show you, Everclear works really, really well in here. So if you have, if you didn't get to go shopping and get all the stuff that you needed, there are plans online for how you can make one of these, like out of a pop can. But Everclear works really well. Oops. The best, I think, is probably denatured alcohol to put in here. You could use rubbing alcohol in a pinch. This one is 70%. It would be much better if you use like a 90 or a 99% because this is 70% alcohol. Alcohol burns, the rest of it is like water, so water doesn't burn. So do you see the problem? It will work if you really need it to. But the Safe Heat is by far what I think is the best option. Another method that you might want to consider, if you don't have anything else, is cooking with tea lights or candles. There is enough heat that you can slowly, very slowly, warm food up. You'll never be able to actually boil water, but it can get to a point where it's just simmering so that it can be nice and hot and you could still have your hot drinks or maybe some oatmeal or something like that. Sometimes all you need is to be able to boil water, and then you can cook food and have warm food and beverages. You can heat up those canned soups. In this case, I have these thermoses. These are wide mouth thermoses, and these are actually just cheap ones, but they are all stainless steel. You can get more expensive ones that are really nice that will retain heat for like 24 hours. But what we're talking about here is doing something called thermal cooking. And all we need is the hot water in here, or you could make a regular soup and bring it to a boil using the Safe Heat and then dump it in here to finish cooking so that you save your fuel. But I had made a little bit of rice in here, and then you noticed I put it on its side to cook. You could do rice, you could do oats, you could do anything like that. And I wanted a little bit of extra insulation, and then I just let it cook that way. It'll take about 4 times as long. If you click the card in the corner, it'll take you to a post that we did, that we created all about this. It's a really wonderful skill, but especially when times get hard, being able to have like some hot cocoa or something like that would be really helpful. Now, sometimes you will still have natural gas when you won't have any electricity. In our case, if that happens, we're able to have hot water through our tap. And I could actually, okay, it's not gonna be really good because it's not quite hot enough, but I could still make decent ramen with it, right? Better than cold water. I could cook something in a thermos, some oatmeal or something like that, just to be able to have some hot food. One of the other things, cooking devices that works really well indoors is a butane cooker. Now you have to be careful because some of them are not rated for indoor use. There are some that are rated for camping and others that are to be used by caterers and are rated for indoor use. So make sure that you're using the correct one. We went for 30 days, the entire month of November a couple years ago, without using any electricity to cook food. And I learned that it takes a lot longer. It's a royal pain, but it can be done. It absolutely can be done. And we learned a lot when we did that. So you might wanna go, and if you're really interested in how to cook indoors, check out that playlist and see what we did, what mistakes we made, and what we decided to do in the future so that we would never have to be unable to cook our food again. So for all of our friends that are in Florida, I hope this helps. Be super safe, and God bless. And now for the question of the day. How are you planning to cook indoors without electricity? Comment below. And thanks for being part of the solution.